All right, let's jump right in. For the longest time, anti-aging just meant things like skin creams, maybe some vitamin supplements. But today, we're way, way beyond that. We're talking about serious, heavily funded biotech companies fighting what is basically a forefront war on aging itself. And this isn't just about looking younger, it's about being younger right down to the cellular level.
And this all boils down to one massive, almost science fiction question that is driving billions of dollars in research right now. Is aging just something that happens to us, something inevitable? Or is it a disease, something we can actually treat and maybe, just maybe, even cure? That's the wild idea we're going to unpack.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the big picture, this quest for longevity. Then we'll dive into the four main scientific armies in this war: the energizers, the cleaners, the calibrators, and the resetters. And to finish, we'll weigh the incredible risks against that ultimate reward.
Okay, so there you have it. These are the four main fronts, the four major factions, if you will. Each one has a completely different strategy, from just trying to recharge our cellular batteries all the way to doing a complete system reboot. So let's kick things off with the first one.
First up, we have the energizers. Now, if you've heard of any of this stuff before, it's probably this one. This is the approach you're most likely to see advertised online. It's the most commercialized, and it's all about one simple idea: refueling our cells. And honestly, this cellular batteries analogy is the perfect way to think about it. Inside our cells, we have this crucial molecule called NAD+. It's what powers everything and helps with DNA repair. But as we get older, our NAD+ levels just drop. These boosters are all about trying to top that fuel tank back up. The ingredients you'll see are things like NMN and NR. They're basically precursors that your body can turn into NAD+. And trust me, this is huge business. You got these major players, ChromaDex, Elysium Health, Seragon, all in a race to combat that metabolic slowdown that hits all of us as we age.
All right, let's move on to our second front. We're officially leaving the supplement aisle now and walking into the world of actual clinical stage pharmaceuticals. The strategy here isn't about adding more fuel, it's about taking out the trash.
And this is where things get really cool and kind of creepy. We're talking about zombie cells. See, as we get older, some cells just stop dividing, but they don't die. They just hang around like zombies, spewing out all these nasty inflammatory signals that damage the healthy cells around them. This is a huge driver of stuff like arthritis and heart disease. Senolytics are drugs designed to be like a special ops team that goes in and just eliminates them. So the goal is to trigger something called apoptosis, which is basically programmed cell death, but only in those zombie cells. You've got heavy hitters like Unity Biotechnology and research teams at the Mayo Clinic pioneering drugs to do exactly this, hoping they can clear out all that cellular junk and treat these diseases at their source. Okay, our third faction, the calibrators, takes a completely different approach. This isn't about adding fuel or taking out trash. This is about sending a signal to our entire system, basically tricking ourselves into turning on their ancient survival programs.
Here's the core idea. There's a protein in our bodies called mTOR, and it acts like a master switch for growth. When there are lots of nutrients around, the switch is on. When things are scarce, it flips off. By blocking mTOR, these drugs mimic the proven anti-aging effects of fasting. They put our cells into this tough, protective survival mode, but without you ever having to miss a meal.
The absolute superstar drug here is called rapamycin. In lab animals, it has shown some of the most dramatic life-extending effects ever seen. Its potential is so huge that it's being looked at for everything from cancer to Alzheimer's. And now, companies like Eonian and Torn are scrambling to make new versions that are just as effective but with fewer side effects.
And that brings us to the fourth and final front, the resetters. Okay, forget everything else. Forget slowing things down or cleaning things up. This is the moonshot. This is the most ambitious, most futuristic approach of them all. We're talking about hitting a biological factory reset button.
Now, this concept can be a little mind-bending, so this analogy is critical. Think of your DNA as your computer's hardware. It's fixed. But your epigenome is the software, the operating system, that tells the hardware what to do. As we get older, that software gets corrupted, full of glitches and errors. Epigenetic reprogramming is literally like wiping the hard drive and reinstalling a fresh, clean version of the operating system. And this is based on Nobel Prize-winning science, using something called Yamanaka factors to literally wind back a cell's clock. The money pouring into this is just staggering.
You have companies like Altos Labs, backed by Jeff Bezos and staffed with Nobel laureates, and New Limit from the founder of Coinbase. If this actually works, we're not just preventing disease, we are talking about regenerating organs. This is the highest risk, highest reward game in all of science.
So, there we have it. 4 incredible competing ideas. But how do they actually stack up against each other? Let's put them side by side on a final scorecard and really look at the risk versus the reward.
Okay, first let's compare the maintenance approaches. You've got the energizers, the NAD plus boosters. You can buy these today. The goal is pretty modest. Boost your energy, improve your metabolism. Then you have the cleaners, Senolytics. They're still in clinical trials, but they're aiming for a much bigger prize, clearing out the chronic inflammation that causes so many age-related diseases.
Now let's really raise the stakes. On one side, the calibrators. Their goal is powerful, to hit the brakes on the entire aging process itself, to delay multiple diseases at once. It has real potential, but also real side effects. And then you have the resetters. This is the all-or-nothing bet. It's still preclinical, it carries massive risks like causing tumors, but the goal is the holy grail, complete reversal of biological age.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. You can literally see the progression, the ladder of ambition, and risk. We start with the NAD plus boosters. They're commercialized, relatively low risk, with a pretty modest goal. And you climb all the way to the top, to epigenetic reprogramming. It's preclinical, carries the terrifying risk of causing cancer, but promises the unbelievable reward of actually reversing your biological age. So as these 4 different armies march forward, it leaves us with one final massive question. Look, they're not all going to succeed. The road ahead is filled with risk and failure. But what if just one of them does? If one of them actually achieves its ultimate goal, it doesn't just change medicine. It changes what it means to be human. It really makes you wonder, what does that future even look like?